Welcome back to Cephas Unscripted, episode 75. Back with the URC. Obviously, we are a bit more hyped up for this. Obviously, there's a couple of bigger tournaments, but for us, this is the biggest one because we've actually got teams in it, still all to play for. The log or the table still tight. Brett, Brevan, welcome, boys. Brett, what are we saying? Good?
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this weekend by a lot. So this must happen now. I can't even watch
Yep.
my own team playing because we're playing at the same time.
Oh, that's horrific. Got to
Well,
get your priorities straight, Brett. Leave your rugby, get a beer, get a braai going, and let's watch some ruggers. Brevan?
yeah. Luckily, I have a bye, so I'm able to watch some rugby this weekend.
Brevan doesn't really have a buy. He's just
No, well,
hoping.
we do, and I'm concussed, so that's a bonus.
They
Anyways,
don't.
that's a story for another day.
That's
But yeah,
always
looking forward
fun.
to discussing some URC, especially because it's squeaky bum time for a lot of teams coming up to this round. So let's get
Yeah,
into it. Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, Brett.
Just before we start, please remember if you like the channel, please remember to like and subscribe. Wow. We appreciate each and every one of you guys as always. The channel's growth has been absolutely insane. I sent a message to the boys in I think it was like February. We got altogether like 13 subs, but last month was so good, and it's all down to you guys supporting the channel. We got about 300 in a month, and we're only planning on growing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, coming towards you with either entertainment or we'll start your morning off by aggravating you. That's just one of those things. But anyway, that's enough talk. Let's get into some URC. Brett, for once, we start off with our own team playing
Hmm.
Friday night. Stormers versus the Dragons. Obviously, we haven't seen any squads. Surely we go full strength, right? Even though it's just the Dragons.
I did see the squad, not the team for the day, but the touring squad, and they went full strength. There's not a lot of people there that aren't known and that aren't Springboks, but they like I told you in our previous episode, the Stormers are not going to be risking anything anymore. And when I saw their touring squad, I saw big names, and I know they're not going to take this game lightly, and they're going to push for that bonus point win away from home.
Yeah, it's a must. We have to push for that bonus point victory. Uh, if you look at the table currently, I don't think we surpass the Bulls because they're on good form. I think they'll stay with their momentum. I don't see them losing one of their three games in hand necessarily. But we still want to give us the best possible chance in terms of ending up high on the log. Obviously, all the other teams just 1 point behind. Brevan, you probably agree would have gone with a full strength team, right?
Absolutely, I think it's important now for for any South African team for that matter. There's no time to chop and change. Like we always say, it's time for continuity. It's coming up to playoff time if teams do make it. So you kind of want to set up yourself, build some form, build some fluidity, build some partnerships there, and keep it very similar. You don't want to see too much chopping and changing and players becoming unsettled, playing out of position, etc. So it's a must win, bonus point must win. So full strength is the only way to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
and Brett, you mentioned that in a previous episode, especially with us having two tour games and then coming back home for one game. It is now do or die. You play a full strength team every weekend. Injuries will happen, and it's one of those things you deal with it with the week after. But you can't afford to drop any more points. So you still stand by that statement in terms of having your full strength team all along. Obviously, Connacht next weekend.
Yeah, completely, completely. I'm not going to change my tune on this, and I think it's utterly important that approaching the business end of the season, we need that continuity. Us being the Stormers, and to go full strength, just to build and build and build. I know we've had a whole season to build, but every game that we play, that the Stormers played, while by playing B side, cost them at the end. So I don't think they're gonna Dobbo feels that maybe that's not the best thing to do because, um, like he I don't want to say he doesn't trust his B team players, but yeah, I think that it's time now to let the big boys play.
Yeah, well, the B team boys have gotten enough playtime throughout the season. Now it's time for the big names to step up once again. So just before we go into the official predictions of the game, obviously we saw the news of Siabelo Senatla back finally after his accident that he had. Massive news. Brett, you've seen the squad. He's most likely not in the traveling squad, right?
No, so he's not. He's not going to play for the Stormers this year. He's actually. He's actually. I've spoken to somebody that's high up at the Stormers. This is not public news. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it. He's not.
Oh well.
I'm going to say it anyway. He's not. He's not currently being paid. He's, however, in the back training with him because he actually initially retired. Because he was told that he won't play rugby again. His arm was completely destroyed. So, so he's re-signed for the 2025 season.
Oh, that's brilliant news. Brevan, you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think just I think that's just we just need to commend him for the strength he's had to come back from such a hectic injury. I mean, players that go through such terrible injuries and still manage to come back even when you get written off, it's just a test of your strength. And I think for that matter, I think South Africans especially are just so good at they get told no, but they still fight for what they want. And obviously, any sportsman around the world that can have that mental strength is just incredible. So I think it's great to see him back, and wherever he goes, whether it's Stormers or plays some more sevens rugby or whatever it is, wish him all the best.
Yeah, we've heard about it in sports so many times of a brilliant comeback story, and this could possibly be one of those again. We've heard it many times where a player in any form of sport said, listen, I can't play anymore, injuries or whatever. Tiger Woods with the back, for instance, comes back, wins a what do you even call it?
Masters.
Masters, yeah, absolutely scintillating. So hopefully this is one of those stories again. Hopefully he comes back and then touches, puts his foot on the grass for the seventh side again because he was absolutely outstanding there as well. He made his name there.
Yeah, some actually good rugby comeback stories is Skalkberger. He had bacterial meningitis, almost died. He came back and got SA Player of the Year when he came back. Franco Mostert, he broke his hip in a car accident, wasn't meant to play ever again. Now he's got 2 World Cups. So
Lurie Jocher might have one now as well.
Sorry?
Lurie Jocher might have one as well.
Exactly. Yeah, so brilliant.
Okay, Brett, you were talking official prediction. Give it to me.
I'm going high. I'm going, regardless of seeing the actual match day 23, I'm going high. Although it's no disrespect to the Dragons, but I feel like it's very necessary that the Stormers pull out the performance of the year, and it's needed for their confidence going into the playoffs. Because, like I said in our previous episode, I don't see them making a playoff game at this current form. So I'm going high. I'm going 35 points, a 35-point win margin.
Sure, that's big. Yeah, I mean, I love the confidence. It's good. I also think the Stormers will win. I don't doubt that they'll win. So I'm gonna go Stormers by just purely because it's away. Stormers haven't traveled in a while. It's been a couple months. I just think Stormers will win, but I think it might be a bit of a tussle. But I can still see them winning comfortably. So I'm gonna say Stormers by 14 to 15 points, somewhere in that region.
Yeah. I think the one benefit of it all is the fact that it's getting a bit hotter there. So usually when we travel, it's rainy, it's cold. We are not used to it. I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm just saying like that's part of the reason why we struggle when it comes to traveling, because we're not used to playing in that weather. And I think this kind of benefits us more to travel now. But we shouldn't need the weather to play a part to beat the Dragons. I'm also going with a high scoring game. I'm going Stormers by 24. Can't afford to lose by less than 20 points. We need to put out a statement performance to go into that Connacht game, because that Connacht game is massive, and the game after that, the Lions. And we know Lions at home, always tough. But that's enough said about the Stormers. Let's move on to Brevan's team. We got the Bulls versus Glasgow. Massive clash. Brevan, say what you need to say.
So before Brevard goes, it's Lions at home. Stormers are playing Lions at home.
Oh, okay, yeah, whatever.
So as for the Bulls and the Glasgow Warriors, I mean, this is a must win for both teams. I mean, Glasgow will want to finish top of the log so that they can have as much home advantage as possible. And the Bulls will also want to keep top four to at least get a home quarter final. So this is just a must win game. And I genuinely think it's going to be very close. I don't think the Bulls are going to run away with this one at all. I genuinely think the Bulls will win, but at the same time, I think Glasgow will put up a massive fight, keep us on our toes, maybe even scare us a little. I'm going to go Bulls by about 7 to 8 points. It's just going to be one of those games where both teams want it really bad. I just think at the end of the day, I think a Munster is just. I know, obviously, this season it may not look like it, but I think Munster's better than Glasgow Warriors, and I think they would have handled the conditions better. But I just think that the Bulls will take advantage of these conditions, obviously at altitude, and just have to take advantage and drain Glasgow Warriors. So I'm going to go Bulls by 7 or 8 points, and just fingers crossed we get it done with a bonus point. That would be great.
Casual.
I agree. I think the Bulls still have it. We know they don't lose at Loftus. It was an anomaly when Munster actually won that game, but yeah, I just don't see the Bulls losing any games going forward. I think they'll have serious momentum. I think they're really focused. They'll play full strength teams, and Glasgow didn't look too good playing against the second string Sharks team at home, in my opinion. So I think Bulls win this game and then make it look pretty comfortable. I know this could blow up in my face, but I'm going Bulls with at least 15 points in this game. I think they blow them out of the water. I don't think Glasgow get any points coming from this game.
If we could take away any point from Glasgow whatsoever, that's a massive bonus, because I know we're on 51, they're on 58. So we would go to 56 if we get a bonus point and keep them at 58. I mean, that just helps us massively. And then they have to play the Lions the following week, which as well isn't an easy game. So I think the Bulls have to literally just take everything away from Glasgow and just make it count.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 games at altitude is not going to be easy. I mean, it's tough enough to play at Loftus, and now you got to go to Ellis Park and do the same. However, I'm going with every now and then I do this, and I choose that one odd game that I predict a draw, and this is that game. I feel like I couldn't decide. Bulls are that Munster performance at home was absolutely shocking. So I think what Glasgow would have done is taken all of that, absorbed it, and how do we beat the Bulls at Loftus? This is how. But I don't see them actually winning. But I also don't see the Bulls actually winning with Chris Smith as their fly-off. So that's why I'm going with a draw. No offense, Brendan. It's just my opinion.
You know what the reason I think, or I'm confident in the Bulls, is they know if they don't win these games, it's between us and the Bulls, the Bulls and the Stormers, to get their own playoff game. And they're probably, at the moment, playing against each other. And that is a massive home field advantage, whether you play at Cape Town or if you play in Loftus. That is absolutely massive. I think that's what I'm saying. I think they blow Glasgow out of the water, because the way that Munster played, that is how you beat the Bulls. Glasgow does not play that way.
You cannot say this might blow up in my face and then go on a full-on defense mode for the Bulls. Just keep it as it is. Calm your nipples, and let's just take it to the next game. Thank you very much. No.
Brevan, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, it's fair. I think the Bulls showed against Munster that there are a lot of flaws that need to be worked on. I genuinely think that we aren't. I think we were a lot better towards the
floor was
beginning of
already.
the season than we were now. I think it's just, it's one of those things where Kane and Moody can't play 13. What else? I know Jake has a lot of tricks up his sleeve that he tries, but like I said, I just think players now need continuity, fluidity, and just play what they know. And I know what the Bulls can do, but like you said, Munster set out a blueprint that, you can beat the Bulls that way. But like you say, Casual, I just think, this means so much to the Bulls because, like you say, playing the Stormers in Cape Town for the Bulls is just a nightmare. I mean, I've got to admit that. It's terrible. When we have hope, if we play the Stormers, it's at Loftus, and even then, you can call it a 50-50 coin toss. So, yeah, I just think the Bulls have to win this one and take everything away from Glasgow.
Okay, so let's move on to the only team that is still in European rugby when it comes to South Africa. We've got the Sharks. Now, quick fire from my side. I think this is going to be the worst game of rugby we've seen in a long time. This might be the scrappiest game that we have seen in a very long time. Because the Sharks are definitely not fielding their strongest team. And Benetton just
To be
aren't at the
fair,
races. And they're coming off a loss. They have to travel here. They have everything to play for still in this tournament. They're out of the other one. I think this is a scrap fest. I think it's high scoring stuff, but scrap.
I read something today that said the Sharks aren't going to hold back. They want to make Kings Park like a fortress kind of type thing, and I think they will play a somewhat strengthened side just purely because you want to restore the pride and the badge type of thing. They might rest like an Eben Etzebeth or something like that, but I can still see a few of those guys playing. And yeah, I mean Benetton as well have a lot to play for, but as we all say, like Benetton have just been the side where we give so much praise, and then the next minute they decide to play like Zebra the next weekend. So it's just you never know what you're going to get. So if it is the case where we get two sides that are very scrappy, that will be a shame. But yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's a struggle to call this one, but you got to give props to the Sharks, fighting spirit. So I'm going to go with the Sharks to win that one. I'm going to let them win it by, or not predict them to win it by, let's say, I think it might be a 10-point win, just purely because it's in Durban.
Yeah, I'm Brevin on that note there that since I was at the Sharks at age group level, every single year the slogan is they want to make Kings Park a fortress. It's a thing. It's what they say every year towards the end of the year. I remember how they used to hype us up like, this is our home ground. This is a fortress. It should be like every other main stadium in the country. And then, we know what happens. If the Sharks pick Basuku at 10, then I'm going to go with Sharks by 3. But if they rest him, Benetton by 10.
Is that because you have a lot of faith in him or zero faith in Kerwin Bosch?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
No, the thing is, Masuku, it's very rare that a player comes into a fold of a union and fits in like a glove from the very first game. It's as if he's been playing with those players his whole life. It just works. It's just one of those signings that when they signed him, I thought, why are they signing this nobody? And then when he played, and then I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. This is like a Moneyball type thing, where they got a player based on what he can bring to the players with chemistry, not with his attributes, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. I just find it hard to think that Benetton would go from 4th in the log and then not be in the playoffs. How can you be on the road to such a special thing and then just like drop off completely? That's why I've got a sneaky feeling that they might just sneak over the line here. I'm not going to say they're going to play better or anything. I just feel like something might just happen which makes them win this game by like 2 points. Because they've got all these Italian guys that just came off a brilliant Six Nations. Benetton was in a great position. You can't just all bin that all away. You've still got Brex, you've still got Menoncello, you've still got Rhino Smith, that Umaga guy. You've still got all of these boys. Surely you come out and at least be in the playoffs. So I'm going with a sneaky Benetton 2-point win. I'm not saying I want them to win, but I've got them to scrape over the line somehow to continue on this miracle story, because they at least deserve to be in the playoffs the way that they've played this season.
Didn't you see in the comments when they said that when the Sharks win their silverware, we're going to eat our humble pie? And the comments can't wait for us to wear our Sharks jerseys. So stop adding fuel to the fire.
Oh, please. Sharks are bum. Like, they're truly and utterly bum. If they win all of their games in hand, let's say all 3 of them they win, with a bonus point, and no other team in the rest of the lot gets any points, they'll end in 12th.
Wow.
They are 13th. I will not take any slander from Shark Boys, okay? They can sit down.
No, I don't know. I'm not saying anything yet because we have to travel to Kings Park in the last game of the season. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to open my mouth just yet because just now we go down there, and it will be after their final in the Challenge Cup. So who knows? They might just bring fire to us and absolutely pin us and cost us some points. So I'm just going to leave it at Sharks. Just keep doing what you're doing and bring home silverware for us South Africans.
Well, scary thing, Brevin, you're finding them on a bit of momentum, to be fair. Like, I know it's just
Exactly.
I'll start to pick up momentum. And I would be shitting it if the Stormers played them, because the Stormers played absolutely wank against them while they were shit.
And only barely won.
Exactly. Now, moving on to the final South African game, we have the Lions taking on Cardiff. We've given a lot of praise to Cardiff, but the Lions pretty easily, right, Brett?
Yes. This is the reason why all our Joburg teams are playing on a Friday night, because the Lions get what's for year? They get preference. How do I not know my own bloody language? Wow.
No. Someone in the comments of the previous video asked, listen, maybe Eben Etzebeth misinterpreted it because he's Afrikaans. And I was like, and then they said, maybe you 3 misinterpreted it as well because you're also Afrikaans. Well, like, Casual's the only Afrikaans guy here. The other 2 speak English. And
Brett can at least speak Afrikaans. I'm like a mengelmoes ook. Like, I can do half-half, and my half-half isn't that great.
Brett remembered the word in his second language and not in his Anyway, Brett, continue. Sorry.
Anyway, the Lions get preference. So no club plays, and we're playing on a Friday night, so they can play Saturday. But I don't see Cardiff coming all the way to. Wow. If they bring Mr. De Beer and he's in South Africa trying to stake his claim. Okay, we've been saying this the whole season. No. Okay, I got Lions by 3.
Lions by 3. Oh, no, I think Lions have got this one. I mean, they're still fighting. They're still trying to get their spot in that top 8. How's the Logs looking in regards to that, Casual? Do you have them in front of you? How far away are they?
Specifically?
Well, just in general, like how far away are the Lions to a top 8 position?
Well, they're currently sitting in 11th, but obviously, like 11th until 5th, which is us, is a 6-point gap. If they win this game, and for instance, Benetton lose, and Edinburgh lose, and Ospreys lose, all of a sudden they shoot up to 9th or 8th. Even Ulster and Connacht on 44, and that's 6th and 7th. So if they win this game with a bonus point, their points difference is so much better than all the rest. They automatically go above them.
If I'm correct, and I'm sure we'll discuss this later, but I think a lot of the Irish teams are playing their derbies for the next 2 weekends as well.
Correct,
so, I mean, they're going to drop points there regardless of who it is. So, I think the Sharks will see an opportunity. Not the Sharks, sorry. The Lions will see an opportunity there and really think, listen, we need to capitalize here. We need to win with bonus point, which I think they have the ability to do. So I'm going to say that the Lions will win this one by, I think, 11 to 12 points, and they will get the bonus point, and that will put them in a good position. So all faith goes to the Lions for sure.
Yeah, it's plain and simple for the Lions. Win your next 3 games, and you have done it. Because, for instance, Connacht and Ulster both still have to play Leinster. So, and that is in the coming weekends. Connacht has to play Leinster and the Stormers. So the Lions will be hoping for the Stormers to do them a favour there as well. And then automatically, if the Lions win those two games, win their next two games, and Connacht drop against Leinster and the Stormers, automatically the Lions are above them as well. It's so tight. So literally every single point matters. But the one thing that kind of would scare me a bit is, we've mentioned this multiple times, Cardiff don't lose by much. They know how to get the game close. And at some point, they won't have a close loss. They might sneak over the line with a close victory.
Yes.
So I am nervous for that, but at least it's a home game for the Lions. Did one of you guys have anything to add on that game specifically?
Not on that
No.
game. What's the date for the Stormers versus Lions in Cape Town? Is it there in front of you?
1st of June.
1st of June. Perfect. Okay, cool.
Brett's going to Cape
He's
Town.
getting his tickets ready. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's move on to the games that doesn't have any South Africans in it. Starting off Friday night, same time as the Stormers game, we've got Edinburgh versus Zebre. Edinburgh still all to play for. They're at home this weekend against Zebre. I think they smashed them. I think like a 30-point victory. They need to get their points difference up even. So I think they go for as big as they possibly can, 30 to 40-point victory for Edinburgh.
I have nothing to add. I completely agree.
Yeah, I think the best way you can put it is RIP Zebre, because that's a tough game to go and play, especially Edinburgh. They've got a good couple of players in that side. Like you said, they're fighting for the playoff position as well.
Because
I
currently
think
they're not in one. They are ninth.
No, they're ninth. They're ninth, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, so they'll definitely just want to rack up 5 points there and just basically move on, because they need to focus from now until the end of the season. So yeah, I think Edinburgh win that one pretty comfortably. I'm not going to go 30 points. I'm going to go 20. 20's cool with me.
Okay. Now, this game might look like a dull affair, but I feel this one can go either way. Brevin, I'm coming to you first. We've got Scarlets taking on Ulster. Now, usually you would say Ulster easily, but the way that Scarlets have played and the way that Ulster have played has made this game look like a 50-50. And to add on that, Scarlets are home as well. Can you see an upset?
It's possible. It's not crazy to say that there might be an upset. I think the way the season's gone, you could even say at the moment Ulster winning there could be considered an upset in a sense. But yeah, if you look at it on paper, Ulster are the favourites. But at the same time, like you said, Scarlets have form on their side. They're playing well, and they are at home. So, what's the situation with Scarlets in the log? How are
They've
they
got
look?
nothing
Not great.
to play for except
Nothing
for
to
pride.
play for.
A team that has nothing to lose, you know how they play. Look
Yeah,
at
of
how close
course.
they got a full strength Sharks team. They beat Benetton. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's just I feel like not Munster, Ulster just we wrote them off in the last game that they played against, who was it, Benetton at home, and they won. Oh, well, I wrote them off. I said Benetton would win that, and they went and won it. Now, whilst their defense wasn't great in that game, their attack was pretty decent. So, if they can fix defense, keep the attack the same, I can see an Ulster win. So, I'm going to back Ulster in the sense that I'm going to go off that. If they can fix defense, I'm going to say Ulster by 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not putting any respect on Scarlets. For me, it's Ulster by 12. It's going to be a formality win. Walk onto the park, play like we know Ulster can play, and that's it. Ulster by 12. It's not even going to be a contest. I don't think Scarlet's going to be in the game a whole lot of the game. I think they're going to try, be prideful, but when sometimes, like you said, when a team's prideful and they have nothing to lose, they're very deadly. But that same team that has nothing to play for, in the back of their mind, they know they have nothing to play for. So they want to play some international rugby, some of those players. So they're going to be half-assed so they can get selected because they will be injury-free.
So after all that I've said, I'm agreeing with you guys, and I'm more on Brett's side. I'm actually going for the largest victory. I'm going Ulster by 18. I was pulling you guys in to say maybe, okay, Ulster, Scarlets can do this. I think Ulster smashed the Scarlets this weekend. They looked so much better against Benetton. Yes, the game was close. Okay, Benetton didn't deserve to lose by a lot. 4 points is probably fair, but the way they played was a lot better than we've seen them play all season. I'm only going on one game, but you know what difference one game can do for you. That bit of confidence booster. That's kind of what the Sharks got. And look at the run that they've been going on from the business end of the season. Yes, Scarlets nothing to lose. Ulster everything to gain. So which one is bigger? Obviously, it's Ulster. They know how to do it. They've played in these games before. I don't think they'll slack on it. I'm going Ulster by 18 points. Now we got a saucy little one. Munster versus Connacht. And we know Derby's form goes out of the window.
Munster storm this game. Munster storm this game comfortably. Munster at home, correct?
Yeah.
Munster storm it. I'm sorry. That Munster side is so good. Like, I've got to give props where props is due. That Munster side to come to South Africa and win at altitude in 2 weeks in a row against the best side in South Africa at the moment based on form. It's just like, I mean, you've got to give them credit. And they did it. They made it look easy for that matter, in my opinion. So, yeah, I just think Munster have so much to play for. They will want also a top 2 finish, keep it comfortable there so that they have at least have a home quarter and semi. So yeah, I think Munster storm it.
Connacht has the best inside centre in the world back there.
I mean, sure, they have the best inside centre in the world, but so what? Munster have some other type of BMT, like for sure. So I just think Munster are just so much better than Connacht at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. It is fair.
I think if we're going to compare every Munster game to the game that they played against the Bulls, I think it's only fitting that I do the same. Because from that game, I had the sneaky suspicion that Munster could go on to defend their title. We often forget this whole season, we haven't actually mentioned it a lot, that Munster are the URC defending champions. And the last 3 games that they played has been so good. I can't see Munster slipping up anytime soon. If they do get a great final, they might come up short, might not, but I'm going Munster by a lot, by more than 15.
They look like the team playing the most mature rugby. Just if you look at that game that they played against the Lions, and the way that they played against the Lions and the Bulls, that will get the job done easily against this Connacht team. That is just, it's basics, but it's true. And do you guys remember at the start of the season, Munster started decently and then they just dropped away completely. And we said we might even predict this Munster team to have the worst title reign that we've ever seen in terms of they weren't at the races, they lost unnecessary games. And look at them now. They're absolutely flourishing. Brett?
You said that, not us.
You said that.
No, I'll claim it. I do not care. I'll give them credit where it's due, but because at the time I said it, I think they were 12th or 13th. Okay, so there was valid reasoning behind it.
It wasn't looking great because I mean they heard that Arge was moving to Leinster. They had injuries to Jean Klein and Arge Snyman. They were fed up with just the players, or not necessarily the players, but just the amount of injuries they had. And then when you take away those players during Six Nations, they're Irish players, that also adds some struggle because they don't have their full strength. But like, you got to give credit. They've literally just all come back and they've all just said like, listen, we've got to regroup and defend this thing. So you've got to give credit to that because they literally are now on the verge of probably making the final for that matter and being able to defend it properly.
Correct. So moving on, final game of the weekend, Leinster versus Ospreys. I think the biggest prediction we can probably give you is not who's going to win this game, but what squad is Leinster going to put out there? Because it doesn't really matter what squad they put out there. They're winning this game against the Ospreys. I'm pretty sure they'll still fight to get that top spot when it comes to the playoffs. Obviously, they have to still play Glasgow as well. They don't want to lose a game that Glasgow wins, and then they have to play Glasgow, and that game just kind of becomes null and void. So they're not going full strength. Let's just throw this out there, but they will probably have a stronger team than they had down south.
Yeah, that I agree with. I think it's going to be like a mixture of like your strong with your rotation side, but at the same time, like obviously the sides that Leinster sent to South Africa, that team is not good enough. We know that, but at the same time, that was like a C/D side, and we realized that, but I just think like a Leinster's B side or even B mixed with C is still good enough to make it. I mean, obviously we know they're going to focus on the Champions Cup. They have one more game to go against Toulouse, and that's going to be an absolute cracker of a game, I'm sure. But I genuinely think they have the depth to field a side that doesn't involve the big stars. I just think they have the depth. They have the, like you said, it doesn't matter who comes in. They know the system so well. So I just think that even if they go with the B side against Ospreys, I still think they're more than capable of getting that result. And whether they finish third, second, first, I genuinely think they could go to a Glasgow Warriors in a final or go to a Munster in a final and win. It's just how strong they are. So I don't think they necessarily worry too much on where they finish because they know at the end of the day they can get to the final. And when they're in the final, it doesn't matter where they're playing. They have a squad that's strong enough to win anywhere. So that's why I just think, they don't need to go full strength here because they can get the job done regardless.
Yeah. Brett?
Yeah, so this is the game I've been dreading actually the whole time. So my opinion of this game has changed since the podcast has started. This episode has started until now because I've been back and forth, trying to think that who are they gonna play? If they play a Prendergast at 10, then I can't see them winning. Honestly, I think he's their worst 10 that they've had in their books for a very long time. If they have Burn 2.0, then maybe. But if they start with Ross, it's Ross, eh? Who's their starter?
Ross Byrne and Harry Byrne, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so if they start with Ross, then it's going to be easy win. Harry Byrne, if we got the names right, don't come at us. I know it's the Byrne brothers, but that's why I say Byrne 2.0. But if they're going with Prendergast, then I'm actually going to call it. I'm going to call it for a Leinster loss. So this is why I can't. This is why I can't say it because I want to see who they're going to pick because the rubbish they sent to South Africa was that not rugby.
Yeah, it was a shocking team. I fully agree, and people will most likely be mad at you in the comments, but I agree in terms of if they play a team that they played in South Africa, that is a loss, okay? Because Ospreys aren't the worst team. Ospreys still have stuff to play for in this tournament. They are above the Lions. We just mentioned the odds of the Lions getting in, and the Ospreys are above them. So Ospreys still have a lot to play for. Obviously, it's away from home, but they're going to go full strength. They're going to look to cause the upset victory. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see a Leinster team like we saw them playing against the Bulls, like starting off with a B team kind of, and then the bench being a bit stronger because obviously they don't want to rest all their guys for a long time before they play in the Champions Cup final, right?
Exactly.
They're going to play their strongest team for the derbies, so I don't see them playing their strongest team now because obviously we just mentioned they still have Connacht and Ulster to play. So they won't start that team because you're not going to play them 4 weekends in a row and then play a final. That's a lot to ask on the body. But a B/A team, that will do the job. They'll still get the bonus point victory, in my opinion. I'm going Leinster to win this game also because they're at home by 16 points. Yeah, if they pick that team, if they pick the team that I'm predicting they're going to pick, I think it's no more games. We don't want to drop points. Get as much points as possible and just secure the victory.
Yeah.
Fairs.
Yeah.
Also, like I don't think they'll want to make too many subs in the game. Like they'd have a team that should win the game by itself, but then if shit hits the fan, they can just bring the A team back onto the field to secure the victory. Where if they just play the B/C side and add normal guys on the bench, you can't rescue the game from there.
For all we know, they could go full strength, as in 100% full strength, because the Champions Cup is still a month down the road. They can go full strength and absolutely obliterate them and rest some of their players like Gibson Park and a Lowe and a Rosberg. They can rest those guys for a Connacht game. So you never know. It could.
Yeah, like there's players like, for instance, I mean, when the British and Irish Lions came to South Africa, we got our first real understand as South Africans. We got our first real understanding of who Jack Conan was and how good he can be. And he is not even the starting 8 for Leinster at the moment. I mean, that goes to Doris at the moment. So they could start with a Conan. They have Jason Jenkins as well, who's there. Yeah. So they have depth. They have so much
start instead of a Dan Sheehan.
Yeah, I mean Alatoa as well. I mean, they have so much depth. So I just think that this will be a comfortable win for Leinster, regardless of what happens with that selection.
Yeah. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode. Episode 75 done and dusted, boys. It's been a wild ride so far, and we are just going to keep on going on this trend that we're on. Thank you, everyone, for viewing, liking, and subscribing. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. We will see you next week, Monday. Goodbye.